again, everybody. Zag Attack is here with my TNA Impact Wrestling review for tonight. Thursday, August 1st, 2013, from Wichita Falls, Texas. It was a decent Impact tonight. Two great matches tonight, involving the X Division champion, the World Champion, a couple of Bound for Glory Series matches, including main event, which was pretty good. And of course, as you saw by my little teaser there from this DVD case here that I showed here, that the August 1st guy was revealed. The guy that's been setting out, that was being teased as the guy that sent out the August 1st warning videos, and it was Tito Ortiz. There's been a lot of speculation all week since this was buzzed about last Friday about who's this mystery guy, who's this August 1st guy. There's so many speculations about maybe it was like Big Batista, John Morrison. When one of these videos comes out, you always know it's going to be speculation about who it's going to be. There was speculation that it was like, that it was going to be Adam Pearce, like a former gut check guy, or Hardcore Holly. But then the speculation train really heated up, I think, last night. Of course, Rampage, we all know, is part of TNA and Bellator. And the news really heated up when it was revealed that last night, at the Bellator event that was held on Spike TV, it was announced that Bellator was going to have the first pay-per-view with Rampage taking on newest Bellator signee, Tito Ortiz, which led speculation on saying, I kind of thought the same thing. Tito Ortiz could do what King Mo did and do what Rampage did, not only sign with Bellator, but sign with TNA. And that's exactly what Tito Ortiz did, especially since he's had a little history with TNA. Having guest refereed a couple championship matches a couple years ago, including a match between AJ Styles and Jeff Jarrett. And I think was it Hard Justice in August of 2005? I think. It was one of those. I think it was that match. Because I've seen it a few times on the internet. So I will see when would Tito Ortiz make his appearance. To say that he's the guy, that he's August 1st guy. I know a lot of people could be like, wah, wah, wah. But we'll see how it pays off. Pales out here. But let's kick off Impact with, of course, Austin Aries. Talking about his match tonight, he was getting ready for a BFG Series match that the fans voted. Fans voted the card for the next 2 weeks of BFG matches. And one matches that fans voted on was Austin Aries taking on AJ Styles. Two men who have apparently never wrestled each other in TNA. Of course, Aries talking about being a dream match. He's like doing big on the leaderboards right now. That he's indeed confident for this match against AJ and getting ready to get it on and get some more points in the matchup against AJ and get some more points, like I said, to advance further in the BFG series to win the championship again. But a man who really needs those points right now, a man who's basically on desperation, especially since he has Zip. He had Zip going into this week. Bobby Roode, a man who 2 weeks ago lost a match against Austin Aries as part of Destination X, making him 0-3 in the BFG series and having no points. And Roode had a temper tantrum, throwing chairs and throwing such a fit last week. We haven't seen him since he lost it 2 weeks ago, but he made his appearance this week, saying that he's recollected himself and really focus on finding the true Bobby Roode and bringing the old Roode, the man who won the championship, the man who became the longest reigning TNA champion in recent history. He wants to bring that old Bobby Roode back to advance further in the BFG series. Then he's like, I'm going to do some old tricks. I'm going to do what I did, do the things I did that brought me to the dance, that brought me to the TNA championship. We will really see that evident in the matchup that Roode would be in following this segment. And it was ready to, once again, show to everybody that it pays to be Roode. And of course, that really would pay off for Roode, as like I said, it would be in action right after that against Hernandez. Despite Roode's efforts to try to shake off this losing streak, it looked like he was on his way back to being a loser, as Hernandez's strength and power dominated the first half of the matchup, especially the Supermax flying move off the ramp, letting into the ring, connecting that running splash from the ramp. And Hernandez really looked good in this matchup. But indeed, Wood did try to do the moves that brought him to the dance by doing anything and everything to win the matchup. Whippy got distracted a little bit. Then Wood nailed a low blow on Hernandez and got the wall up, held it tight. And despite that best effort to cheat, Wood did not get the pinfall as Hernandez kicked out at the count of 2. And it looked like Wood was going to lose it yet again. As he was throwing chairs in again, it looked like he was going to snap again. But it looked like it was a more methodical ploy to set up the referee for what Wood was going to do next. As the referee was distracted from throwing the chairs out, Wood decided, like I said, he said he was going to do the moves, do the things he did that brought him to the dance. What brought him the title was when, during his match against James Storm 2 years ago, the match where he won the championship, he won it by nailing James Storm in the head with a beer bottle. Well, that's exactly what Wood did. Like I said, referee distracted with throwing the chairs out. Wood came out underneath the ring, grabbed the beer bottle, smashed it on the head of Hernandez. And referee, after throwing the chairs out, got back, saw Wood covering Hernandez. 1, 2, 3 victory for Bobby Wood. Finally, getting points on the leaderboard in the BFG series. Cheating to do it with the help of a beer bottle. And maybe a beer bottle in his cheating ways, his selfish, cocky, arrogant ways are back. And it could bring Bobby Wood back further into the BFG series and really push him on a trail to go back to not only go back in the BFG series, but go back to being TNA World Heavyweight Champion. While Wood's no longer in a three-way tie for last place, along with Kaz and Jay Bradley, Jay Bradley was going to try to get some points in the leaderboard, and he'll take on a guy who's in last place with minus 10 heading into this week's Impact, Joseph Park. Now, of course, the cause of that minus 10 points was a disqualification on Mr. Park, as he went nuts, because, of course, when Joseph Park sees blood, when he gets caught up in blood, he goes nuts. He gets into like a different state. And he got to nail the black hole slam on the referee during his match against Jeff Hardy. Cause of the, now like I said, the cause of the minus 10 points. But Mr. Park may have a little helper trying to get him back in the leaderboard. And that was, of course, like I said, referring to a sidekick, should I say. Eric Young trying to help Joseph Park trying to fight back and make his own little mini comeback like Wood is in the BFG series. And he helped by giving Mr. Park a little headband. Not a headband, like a little wrestling match, like a Greco-Roman wrestling head protector. As Joseph Park went into his match against Jay Bradley. Now, the wrestling code is, of course, when one wrestler's weakness, the other wrestler takes advantage of that weakness. Of course, when it's an injury, like the other wrestler goes for weakness when it comes like weakening the knee or a neck that got injured or a shoulder injury, weakening it and having it as a target. Well, the head, specifically the head helmet, the headgear of Joseph Park was a big target for Jay Bradley, as Jay was having a little tug of war, basically using the entire match to take that headgear off of Joseph Park. He did eventually get it off. But as he was in his ongoing tug of war of getting a helmet off, Park held his own against Mr. Bradley, trying to nail some big moves there. But indeed, Bradley came in with his own little hitting style. There was no reaction at all. He doesn't deserve it, in my opinion. He's like the dark horse in the BFG series. Definitely is a dark horse. And as Bradley, like I said, throughout the match, trying to take the headgear off of Mr. Park, trying to weaken him up. And then Bradley finally, at one point, did like I said, get the padded headgear off of Mr. Punk to try to nail his big move, the big clothesline known as the boomstick. But as he was nailing it, or waiting to nail it, Joseph Punk ducked it, counted it with the Samoa drop, and a 1-2-3 victory for Joseph Park. With this victory tonight, Joseph Park's no longer minus 10. He's minus 3, getting 7 points. Like I said, now he's minus 7. So, like I said, Joseph Park, like I said, maybe on his little mini comeback of his own after Wood's little comeback after beating Hernandez tonight. And like I said, Joseph Park may get ahead and may take advantage of having Eric Young as his new sidekick, his new little manager guy to help him out, trying to make a comeback in the BFG series. Bear with me, I got a little allergies tonight. Alright, now, let's on to the next matchup involving the TNA World Champion. It was a champion versus champion match, not a title. None of these titles were on the line in this matchup. The X Division champion, Manic, taking on the World Champion, Chris Sabin. Now, this match was pretty good. It was pretty evenly matchup because like, these guys are both X Division guys, X Division type wrestlers, light wrestlers, and it was very fast paced. And finally, I think TNA with this matchup finally lived up to its name. That there was a lot of total non-stop action in this matchup. Very high paced, very fast paced action. Like the moves kept going on like back and forth. It was like a juggling match. That's what it was. And there was some decent spots in this matchup. With Chris Sabin nailing at one point an elevating inverted suplex. And there was like one little move like Manic did as Sabin was going for a move up the top. Manic caught him with like some sort of like move, like a little angle, like a hip toss up the top rope, like some inverted hip toss or something up the top rope or something that Manic did, I think. And it was like a decent spot and pretty decent action from these guys. Pretty good matchup. And like I said, it was a pretty back and forth, pretty evenly matched. And Manic and Sabin was both going for the big moves throughout the matchup, including Sabin at least attempting at least twice for the big finish, which is his new move, the Hail Sabin move. But then Manic kept countering it to his own little move. It was going for like his own little move. And they were both like chopping each other, bunching each other. They have like slugging matches, knife edge chopping matches, and especially kicking matches. Both guys were really kicking each other really hard. And it was one kick after Manic was going for another big move that Sabin got him with a kick that set up the second attempt and successful attempt, might I add, of the Hail Sabin finisher and a 1-2-3 victory for our World Champion Chris Sabin. But he didn't have enough time to savor that victory as Bully Ray came to the ring to beat up on Chris Sabin, delivering a message as they get prepared for the rematch in 2 weeks for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship inside a steel cage for the TNA title as part of Hardcore Justice Impact. But as Bully Ray was beating up on Chris Sabin, Manic tried to get up and try to help Sabin. But as Bully was focused on beating up Manic, kind of getting sick of beating up on Sabin, Manic's little beat up from Bully Ray gave Sabin enough time to get back up and fight back against Bully Ray, punching him to hell and throwing him outside the ring, standing tall, saying the Bully, basically saying with his physical moves that it ain't gonna be easy for you, Bully, to take away my championship. I'm gonna prove that my win over you was not a fluke. As we would see later on, they're gonna have a contract signing next week to make the match official. But maybe a little bit more than that contract that meets the eye. As Brooke Hogan would later visit Bully Ray, saying, basically announcing the contract signings next week, and saying there might be a little something in that contract. A stipulation that I have been waiting to see for a match for a long time. I'm waiting for the day that they're going to add some sort of stipulation in a matchup involving Bully Ray. That if Bully Ray loses, he would have to finally divorce Brooke Hogan. That's what's going to be. It'd be some sort of loophole, some sort of stipulation involving Bully Ray finally getting divorced from Brooke Hogan in some way, shape, or form when Bully Ray loses this matchup against Chris Sabin. We'll see the official account of that stipulation when the contract signing happens next week on Impact. Now, on to our next matchup. Before that, we had, of course, an ongoing storyline with trying to look for the August 1st guy. We didn't know when the August 1st guy, who we all know who it is, as I said in the beginning of this video, being Mr. Ortiz. Many people are saying about when he's going to make his debut, when he's going to make an appearance. I kind of knew he was going to make an appearance during our last segment of the evening, which I was right on that. I predict that Mr. Ortiz was going to make an appearance during the main event match or the last segment And it was the last segment, as we all know. We'll get to that in a moment. But throughout the evening, we were trying to figure out who it was. And Taz, who we haven't seen in 2 weeks, finally made an appearance tonight, but he was thrown out of the Impact Zone. He wasn't allowed to commentate. So Taz went on his own little mission to try to see who it was, because Tito Ortiz apparently arrived in a big white limo, but he wasn't in it. Like Taz, like we didn't know who it was still. Like the speculation was still on. And Taz opened the limo door, and like there was like a little computer airing another little video. And maybe we'll find out any specific reason why Hulk Hogan kind of withheld Taz from commentating tonight. We may find out more about Taz and his own situation next week on Impact as well. Now we got to go on with our next matchup, which involved Gail Kim in a matchup against ODB stemming from last week. Like I said last week, and I'm saying it again, is it just me, or does Gail Kim have a problem with female knockout referees? We saw ongoing problems with Taryn Terrell, causing Taryn Terrell to leave as a TNA referee, which led towards that great knockouts match, that ladder match a couple weeks ago against Taryn and Gail, which proved my point, as I've been proving every week on not just my TNA reviews, but my Raw reviews, especially my Raw review a couple days ago, that indeed the knockouts do one thing that WWE Divas, most of them cannot do. That is, be allowed to wrestle. And of course, that ladder match helped Gail get the title match last week against Mickie James. But Gail, like I said, had a problem with referees before Taryn Terrell, and she had a problem with ODB. She kind of like got in ODB's face a little bit, shoved ODB down, and ODB kind of tried to fight back. That distraction basically helped Gail lose the match against Mickie James. And Gail was reminded by Brooke that ODB is not just a referee, that she is an officially rostered knockout. So that led to this matchup tonight. I think I kind of knew this match was going to be made. Gail Kim against ODB. So there you go. ODB basically came out from the chute, nailing the first shot by spearing the hell out of Gail on the ramp. And it was like a little, like a spear splash or whatever. And so ODB, like I said, nailed the first shot and basically went on with Gail Kim tossing her around and stuff. But then, of course, Gail in her sly, cunning ways got back in the game with her own little style of wrestling style and really gave some great offense to ODB, nailing her with some big moves, kicking her, punching her, nailing her in the corner with some big clotheslines and big moves to try to finish off ODB in very quick fashion. But it wasn't a quick match like every WWE Divas match. Anyway, ODB kept fighting back, especially when she got a little inspiration from a flask. Drinking the flask, jumping back up, doing a little splash after a big slam. And the ODB kept flying back. And it lead up with these two fighting outside the ring, which would lead up to the end of this matchup, duking it outside the ring with Gail being nailed against the ring post. Especially after Gail Kim trying to do the ODB what she has done to every other knockout when ODB is refereeing a matchup, putting the finger four on ODB on the ring post, but ODB countered it before being applied in that hold by Miss Kim. Or I should say Mrs. Irvine, since I still cannot believe that Gail Kim's married to Robert Irvine, who's the host of Restaurant Impossible on Food Network. I didn't know that too. I watched their wedding special on Food Network. I'm kind of a Food Network guy. I like everything. I'm a weird guy. You know, I like a lot of things. Wrestling, sports, well, football, reality shows, and Food Network. I got hooked on Food Network by my eye doctor. I went to my eye doctor. I wear glasses, but not for these videos because I'm close. I'm farsighted. That's why I need glasses. And I got my eyeglasses, and the channel every time is Food Network. That's why I got kind of hooked on watching the Food Network. So, going off topic here because it just makes me, just every time I see Gail Kim, it always makes me feel weird seeing her because she's married to that guy from the Food Network, like I mentioned. Okay, back to the matchup here. Like I said, ODB and Gail were fighting outside the ring. Gail had the figure four applied, but on the ring post, ODB counted out of it, and they fought outside the ring. And unfortunately, they were ignoring the referee's count. The referee counted both of them out, causing, like I said, a double count out. But both of them weren't over yet, as ODB and Gail were still blowing it out even after the referee called off the match. But I bet you that they will make another match between Gail and ODB. This match will probably be a rematch because they didn't settle anything because, like I said, it ended with a double count out. So, I bet you there'll be a match made. I bet you'll be some sort of hardcore match made between Gale and ODB at Hardcore Justice in 2 weeks in Norfolk, Virginia. Probably made next week. Now, on with our main event matchup, which was another last BFG series match of the evening. AJ Styles taking on Austin Aries, the dream match. And Mannequin Chris Sabin was pretty good, but this match, if you name any match, like a match of the night here of Impact tonight, this was it. Like the Mannequin Chris Sabin match, very back and forth, very evenly matched up between these guys. It was a long match, and it was deservingly given the time needed for this matchup. Very great matchup, like I said, back and forth. A lot of great action here between both guys, and of course, AJ now is no longer trying to show the phenomenal styles of old. He did show a little bit of that. He showed a little flashes of that last week too, but he's more the methodical style, more like submission style guy, especially with his calf killer. There were some great spots in this matchup between these two guys. One of my favorites was the counter of the submissions. Austin Aries had his own little submission move on AJ at one point. I have to remember the name of that submission move that Aries does, which was the last chancery. But as Aries had that move on, AJ countered that into his own submission move, of course, the ever dangerous calf killer. But what I liked about this was AJ had the calf killer on, and then Aries countered it into the brain buster. That was a great counter out of Aries. That was a great sequence of events there, and there was a lot of great spots, great action with these guys. Very back and forth, chops, a lot of punchy fights, great kicks, counter after counter, near fall after near fall, especially in the last 10 minutes. It was like very, very exciting matchup. As good as Manic and Chris Sabin earlier tonight, but a little better. Another one of my favorite spots early on was later on after the submissions counters was AJ and Aries fought on the ramp, and Aries was, and I knew was kind of looking to nail the brain buster on the ramp, but he never did. So AJ was going for his own finish, the Styles Clash on the ramp, but then Aries countered that to a back body drop, tossing AJ off the ramp and onto the floor. And I thought it was going to be another count out again. I was like, oh man, we just saw a double count out. We don't want another one. But indeed, both guys, after fighting each other outside the ring, they got back in the ring. And like I said, there was some great action there with, like I said, count after count. Like AJ had a knees up when Aries was going for a splash after the great counter, like I mentioned, the submissions counter leading to the brain buster from Aries. So after they got back in the ring, after fighting him off, fighting outside the ring, after the attempted Styles Clash and attempted brain buster on the ramp, Aries was going for a big move, but then AJ got back up and nailed the Pele. And this is kind of a weird ending, but like AJ's momentum of the Pele not only knocked him down, but knocked Aries down onto AJ. Like both guys were on each other. Like Aries was like this, and then AJ was on this side like this on Aries. And both guys had their shoulders down. And the referee counted 1, 2, 3. Right before 3, Aries had his arm up. AJ's arms was counted down, so Aries won the match. Kind of a sketchy finish. Kind of a weird, some would say controversial finish, but there was nothing to debate about because Aries had his arm up, and AJ's arms were fully down. So Aries won the matchup, giving himself 7 more points into the BFG series. So here are the updating standings from tonight's matches, plus the matches that are made for next week's BFG series. They made matches for next week. I said the fans voted for the next 2 weeks of Buffalo Series matches, voting for this match and voting for next week's matches as well. In first place still with that commanding lead of 49 is Magnus, who will be taking on Mr. Anderson next week. In second place still with 26 points And it's, of course, the fellow main event Mafia member of Magnus, Samoa Joe, like I said, at 26. He will be facing off against Jeff Hardy next week. Still with 22 in third place is AJ Styles. And now, after his win against AJ tonight, Austin Aries is now in fourth place, tied for fourth with 21 points with Christopher Daniels. Beer allergies tonight. Daniels went to wrestle his Bad Influence partner, Kaz, next week, who has Zip. And Daniels and Kazarian are friends, like I said, Team Bad Influence, but we'll see what this match does for the friendship. Sorry about this, guys. Bugging me all day. In sixth place is Jeff Hardy with 17. Like I mentioned, he's wrestling Samoa Joe next week. Ken Anderson's at 7 with 14. Like I said, he's taking on Magnus next week. And tied with 7 is Hernandez. And with his win tonight, finally on the board, Bobby Roode, like I said, Ivan Hernandez, pinning Hernandez with that bill bottom to get 7 tied with Hernandez. 10th place with still Zip, Kaz, and Jay Bradley. Like I said, Kaz will be taking on Daniels next week. And still in last place, but no longer with -10, -3 after his victory against Jay Bradley, Joseph Park. Trying to get back out of the red and into the black in the leaderboard. So there you go with that. Now, on with our last segment of the evening, which involved the Main Event Mafia, saying throughout the evening that they had an offer that the Ace and Eights could not refuse, like a challenge. And I had a sneaky suspicion, I predicted to myself, that Ace and Eights are going to be challenged by the Main Event Mafia for a 5-on-5 tag match at Hardcore Justice. And I am white. I'm always right when it comes to these predictions. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. But I was right that it is going to be a 5-on-5 matchup that Ace and Ace was challenged on. But there was a little added incentive to it that I thought. We saw a segment earlier on in the night with Main Event Mafia talking about the game plan, about what they're going to do to challenge Ace and Ace this night, saying that they'll make a sacrifice. They'll really make a sacrifice to make a sacrifice for the ultimate goal of getting rid of Ace and Ace. Well, that sacrifice is going to be if they lose. The loser of this match that gets pinned in this 5-on-5 tag match is out of TNA. That makes it more, like I said, more interesting. Especially with Ace and Ace, Main Mafia's plan to get rid of Ace and Ace one by one. And Ace and Ace will take their time on making a decision on whether or not they would accept this match, with implications and all. But then Main Event Mafia basically had to fight the answer out of the Ace and Ace, as Ace and Ace and Main Event Mafia got to a little brawl in the ring, and Ace and Ace got tossed out of the ring with Main Event Mafia standing tall. And Anderson, the VP, taking care of this, saying that, "You won! We're accepting this match." As the match was accepted, the lights went out, and here comes the aforementioned August 1st guy. Like I'm saying throughout the video, Tito Ortiz is the guy, and he just came out, he just said hi, he didn't attack anybody, and that's how we ended Impact. So like I said, Tito has been involved in TNA before, and like I said, when Tito Ortiz appeared last night on Bellator to announce that he was going to face Rampage in the first pay-per-view of Bellator on November 2nd, that kind of added more speculation about who the guy was for August 1st. The speculation turned out to say, what if the August 1st guy is Tito Ortiz? He's now in Bellator. He could do what, like I said, what King Mo and Rampage did. Not only sign with Bellator, but sign with TNA as well. Fight for both companies. And apparently that's what Tito Ortiz did. That Tito Ortiz is in Bellator and TNA. And he could end up teasing, or at least giving more publicity for his match against Rampage in Bellator while being in TNA. Because you see Rampage's face when he saw that it was Tito, that was the guy. So like I said, it could be very... Like, TNA could be a hype vehicle for the Rampage Ortiz fight. And I thought of one little scenario which may not happen. Them being the main event of Bound for Glory. Ortiz against Rampage. But I know that won't happen because Bellator does not want to risk injury on one of those two. Like, if one of those two, Rampage or Ortiz, get injured, if they were hypothetically wrestle at Bound for Glory, the main event at the Bellator pay-per-view is over. Especially since Bellator, to finally make the move to pay-per-view, Bellator needed the right two guys that had the draw power, that had the big name power, the bank power, to at least get a main event to make a pay-per-view happen and make the undercard. And these two guys came in, Rampage and Ortiz. Now they're both in TNA and Bellator because, like I said, it's by TV. So there you go. Tito Ortiz, the August 1st guy. A lot of people might be disappointed. I kind of am. I think I expected a bigger name. But hey, we'll see what Tito Ortiz can do in Impact. And also Bellator too. That is it for my Impact Wrestling review for tonight. I will see you all later. Of course, like I said, next week we got the 3 Bound for Glory series matches. Like I mentioned, Hardy, Joe, Magnus, Anderson, Daniels, Kaz, and a contract signing between Bully Ray and Chris Sabin to make the match official for Hardcore Justice. Like I said, maybe some sort of stipulation involving the marriage between Book and Bully Ray and they about divorce if Bully Ray loses or whatever way. With that in mind, you've all been attacked by the review from Zach. Thank you all very much for watching. See you all later. Have a great night and weekend too. Yeah.